Hello and welcome back to your Newsmax Daily for Wednesday, August 21st, 2024. It's the 34th Wednesday of the year, the third of four this month, day 3 of the DNC, and a very important day on the calendar of made-up events. International Day of Remembrance and Tribute to the Victims of Terrorism. And on this day, Secretary of State Antony Blinken heads home from the Middle East with no ceasefire agreement and no hostages released from Hamas after his 9th visit to the region since the deadly war began back in October. A war, don't forget, that was started by Hamas attacking Israel and killing more than 1,100 people.
Our message is simple, it's clear, and it's urgent. We need to get the ceasefire and hostage agreement over the finish line, and we need to do it now.
Secretary of State Blinken speaking late yesterday as he got on his plane to head home.
Time is of the essence because with every passing day, the well-being and lives of the hostages are in jeopardy.
Israel's army, the IDF, said it has recovered the bodies of 6 hostages that were taken by Hamas in the October 7th attack. It is believed that Hamas is still holding around 109 hostages, including 8 American citizens. Here at home, pro-Palestinian protesters got physical with police in riot gear on night 2 of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. SWAT had to move in and make multiple arrests while Chicago's own former First Lady Michelle Obama spoke inside.
Kamala Harris is more than ready for this moment. She is one of the most qualified people ever to seek the office of the presidency.
Again with the she is one of the most qualified ever. The night before, Joe Biden was one of the best presidents ever. And what about Bill Clinton, who will speak there tonight, and her husband, who really wasn't qualified either as a one-term senator?
We do not need 4 more years of bluster and bumbling and chaos. We have seen that movie before, and we all know that the sequel is usually worse.
Former President Barack Obama, of course, and this is First Gentleman Doug, or Dougie, who could become the first ever First Gentleman, talking about the night that he met his wife.
We talked for an hour, and we laughed. Well, you know that laugh. I love that laugh.
A month ago, they were all laughing at her. Now they're all laughing with her. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump was on the campaign trail in Michigan campaigning with law enforcement.
We're here today to talk about how we are going to stop the Kamala crime wave that is going on at levels that nobody's ever seen before. And she is, as you know, the most radical left person ever even thought of for a high office, certainly for the office of president. People don't know the real Kamala, but I do, and people that do what I do, they also know. But she is so far left that nobody's can even imagine, and her real thoughts are there. You know, she's changed. They call her a flip-flopper at the highest level that they've ever seen in politics because she's come out with a policy and for years defund the police. You don't mind defunding, do you, fellas? Would you vote for a defunder? Would you vote? By the way, your people that you protect don't want defunders either. But she's been there until just recently. But she's always been for defunding the police. And the person that she's running with, Tim Walz, is equally far left. This is the most far left group. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And the press is giving them a free pass. And you're not going to have... if it was up to them, you wouldn't even have the men behind me, people behind me, representatives behind me. You wouldn't have them. They wouldn't have a job. They think it's going to just police itself. Everything's going to take care of itself. Her father is, as you know, a Marxist professor, and he obviously did a good job. But this is where she's coming from. And, you know, you see her now with a smile, and she's gotten rid of the laugh over the last couple of days. I don't know. I haven't seen her laugh. They've told her, don't laugh, please. But I'll bet inside she was laughing last night when she saw the way Joe Biden left. because that was a coup. That was a coup. And I'm no fan of his at all. And it started with the debate, and from that point on, it just got worse and worse. But that was a coup. It was a vicious, violent overthrow of a president of the United States. Since Comrade Kamala Harris took office, her administration's crime statistics show she's presided over a 43% increase in violent crime. These are all government numbers. 43% increase in violent crime. I'll bet the people behind me don't have anything like that. Just gets better. It doesn't get worse. Including a 58% increase in rape, 89% increase in aggravated assault, and a 56% increase in robbery. The crime in America, the fact is out of control. I watched last night in amazement as they tried to pretend that everything was great, the crime was great, the border was great. There wasn't a problem at all, no inflation, no nothing.
Let's go to Rob Schmitt for more coverage on Trump and Harris.
Today, the former president spoke about crime and safety in Howell, Michigan. Not surprisingly, the race-baiting Kamala Harris campaign found a reason to fearmonger over this visit. Kamala's Michigan comms director, Alyssa Bradley, saying Trump visited Howell, Michigan, in particular, to send a message to white supremacists and Klan members out there, quote, choosing to rally in a town that was historically known as the KKK capital of Michigan. This event on crime and safety isn't a dog whistle from Trump, it's a bullhorn. So, of course, this is the kind of idiocy we can expect from those who are willing to work for Kamala Harris's presidential campaign. But to show you just how ridiculous that statement is, watch this incredible response from Trump when he was asked about it by the media.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Kamala Harris campaign is backing you for being in this town because they say there were white supremacists here a month ago. No, they're Democrats.
Who was here in 2021? Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
That's one of the best we've seen. A body slam to the race baiters up to their usual games. A style of politics that we can thank Barack Obama for. The OG Democrat race baiter who actually speaks tonight in Chicago. The real leader of the Democrat Party, the architect of Joe Biden's political demise, will address his most sycophantic loyalists in his home city. Barack Obama was the impetus of the divisions we now suffer with in this country. He's the reason we have a miserably race-obsessed culture, the reason the radical left now controls the Democrat Party and have turned it into a dumpster fire of abortion-celebrating, Israel-hating, race-fanatic Marxist sympathizers. And while millions of Americans cannot stand what Obama did to this country, you cannot deny his political acumen, as we look at live pictures from Chicago, which is why his delay in endorsing Kamala Harris a month ago was so interesting. Recall, it was a month ago when we watched effectively the entire Democrat Party coalesce around Kamala Harris, except Barack Obama did not commit for days because Barack Obama knows this woman can't win. He knows Kamala Harris is incompetent. He knows she is an empty pantsuit. Obama fought her coronation, but he lost the battle to the rest of the party elites. Maybe in a few months, Obama will be able to say, I told you so.
Rob Schmitt, host of Rob Schmitt Tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern on Newsmax. This is Florida Republican Representative Byron Donalds on American Agenda with Bob Brooks.
Congressman, we've kind of noticed Democrats largely rules for thee, not for me. I want to talk about fencing, walls, something you brought up also about what's going on around the United Center there in Chicago. There's also a lot of video there of that out on social media right now, that they have put up barricades, trucks, fencing around the United Center. But, oh, my gosh, when Trump was talking about building a wall, Tim Walz, he went completely insane. Basically, all the Democrat leadership did. Yet they're going to use the same tactics when it's convenient for them.
Of course they are. Listen, when it comes to their personal security, they got no problem with guns. They love having armed personnel around them. And when it comes to securing their facilities, they got no problem with fences, no problems with walls. But when it comes to the security of our nation, then they want to flip the script and say that walls do not work. It is a lie. It's always been a lie. And that is because The truth is that the Democrat Party, led by Kamala Harris, they want open borders. That has always been their design. They don't want to reverse course. The only thing that has occurred is that the American people have seen how diabolical this policy is. And so they have to throw out fig leaves and throw out words saying that, oh, they're going to make policing stronger, or she's going to hire more border agents. But the reality is there will not be any fundamental changes to the policy of the Joe Biden-Kamala Harris administration. This is why what she's going to do this is why her plans around border security are not listed on her website. This is why she won't answer questions about border security and crime. This is why she won't sit with the press. She won't detail what she means. Everything is just word salad and phraseology.
I love it. Phraseology and word salads. And it is absolutely amazing. Stunning, in fact. How many people are just eating up that salad right now, right? That's Congressman Byron Donalds of Florida, who was, of course, on the short list, which they kept saying short list, but it turned out to be a pretty long list. But he was on the list of Trump's potential running mates. By the way, I mentioned yesterday that it was primary day here in Florida. One of the closely watched primary races was Congressman Matt Gaetz, one of several incumbents being challenged in the primary. Every single sitting Republican that faced a challenge, Senator Rick Scott, Congressman Brian Mast, who is somewhat of a regular on Newsmax, along with Representative Stubbe, who you also see on Newsmax a lot, Mike Waltz, and others, all cruised to victory. Matt Gaetz won pretty much in a landslide, despite former Speaker Kevin McCarthy spending more than $3 million on challenger Aaron Dimmock. And as I mentioned, that obviously was one of the closely watched primaries. Senator J.D. Vance, the Republican vice presidential nominee, was back in Wisconsin yesterday campaigning with law enforcement as well, and taking questions from voters and reporters, as he did the day before that in Philadelphia and every other day on the campaign trail.
Hi, Megan Marshall with Spectrum News. This is the second endorsement from a local law enforcement here in Wisconsin. Tell me why that's so important to you in your campaign.
Well, I think it speaks to the fact that law enforcement knows who's on their side, right? Donald Trump has been endorsed by so many law enforcement organizations across the country, but now 2 in the state of Wisconsin just the past week, because they know that Donald Trump is the one who's actually going to stand up for them and support them. I mean, look, we have got real problems in law enforcement recruitment in this country, and certainly right here in the state of Wisconsin. A lot of our police departments are underfunded and under-resourced. We don't have enough cops to do the job of keeping us safe. And then on top of that, we've got Mexican drug cartels operating as far north as Kenosha, Wisconsin, because we have a border czar, Kamala Harris, who refuses to do her job. These guys just want common sense back, right? Some of them are Democrats, some of them are Republicans. Maybe they agree or disagree with us on tax policy, but they agree with us that we've got to have common sense public safety. And if we don't have public safety, we don't have anything. You can't build a business. You can't go to work. You can't take your kids on a walk in your neighborhood without public safety. Public safety is the foundation of having a good country, and the police of Wisconsin know Donald Trump is the public safety candidate. Anybody else here? Ma'am? Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, this is Stephanie Quirk with Fox 6 News in Milwaukee. Kind of going off the DNC, Vice President Kamala Harris is paying a visit to Milwaukee tonight, holding a rally. Do you have any response to that?
No response. Look, I mean, Kamala Harris is going to run the campaign that she runs. I would say that I wish that she would do what I'm doing right now, which is talk to the media and actually answer some tough questions. I mean, if you think what I'm doing here right now, what am I asking? The question I'm asking is for the fine people gathered to vote for me to be their vice president of the United States. What an awesome responsibility, and what an incredible thing that I'm asking them to do. Now, Kamala Harris is going around asking people to be their president of the United States, but she won't answer a single tough question, and she won't interact with the American people unless there's a teleprompter standing between them and her. And I think that's crazy. And I think that what the media has got to start doing is it's got to start saying, look, If Kamala Harris is not going to stand and answer some tough questions, we're going to stop giving her this fake fawning coverage, demand that she do what any president has had to do, which is answer some tough questions. But look, her argument, I can't get over this, because you watch her rallies, and Kamala's argument is something that I could not say with a straight face. She stands there and says on day one, she's going to tackle the housing affordability crisis in our country. On day one, she's going to tackle the grocery affordability crisis in our country, and they are crises. Well, Kamala, day one was 3.5 years ago. You've been the vice president for 3.5 years. What the hell have you been doing for all that time?
Ohio Senator and Donald Trump's running mate J.D. Vance in Wisconsin Tuesday. Vance and other Republicans keep saying they would like to see her answer some tough questions, face some tough questions. How about any questions? They don't even have to be the tough ones. She's not answering any questions at all. This is Carl Higbie, host of Frontline.
All right, well, this week is already an endless supply of reasons why not to vote Democrat.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?
What? They don't even know the words to the national anthem. Led by the DNC Women's Caucus, the vice chair. She's a congresswoman, Joanne Sullivan. All these people, they didn't even know the words to the. This is unbelievable, folks. Now, as off-tune as they are, too, the speeches inside were insane. AOC, like, copying some weird fake accent.
And I, for one, am tired of hearing about how a two-bit union buster thinks of himself as more of a patriot than the woman who fights every single day to lift working people out from under the boots of greed, trampling on our way of life.
Okay, that's the Boston University grad with a business degree, mind you, that somehow ended up as a socialist after being a bartender. But, I mean, what should the headline of this event been? It should have been Joe Biden, you know, like the sitting president of the United States. They didn't let him speak until 11:30 at night. That's past midnight on the East Coast. Okay, they preceded him with other political L's like Hillary Clinton. They did this on purpose because Democrats are trying everything they can to separate Kamala Harris from Joe Biden. And I said this a while ago, folks. There was no way ever that Joe Biden would go quietly into the night. This guy is one of the most arrogant people in politics. This is about the most sentient thing that Joe Biden has done in the last 4 years, is this last week of performance. He knows that Kamala needs to distance her from himself to have even a snowball's chance in hell in November.
Carl Higbie, 5 o'clock Eastern on Frontline. And as I mentioned earlier, President Bill Clinton speaks at the DNC tonight, where the theme is a fight for our freedoms, or at least for women's reproductive freedoms. Oh, yeah, who better than Bill Clinton? Let's wrap it up with former White House advisor to President Trump and Newsmax host Sebastian Gorka.
Moving on, what are you expecting tonight?
I'm going to have to fact check that clip. I need to know if that's a cheap fake. CNN's Anderson Cooper actually saying, oh my gosh, the Democrats are lying. I mean, wow. What am I expecting tonight? More of Bizarro World. I mean, this whole thing is like Kamala's campaign ad last week. Do you remember when she dropped this? I mean, there is no moral standard they're prepared to sink beneath, where she portrays herself as the tough on crime, we're going to secure the border candidate, and calls my former boss the defund the police, open borders candidate. I expect more of that. Just sheer projection, lie upon lie, and just, this bizarro world of what is ostensibly a political cult today.
It's so true. And I thought this was a really imaginative clip here. This is a Michigan State Senator, Mallory McMurrow, talking about weaponization of the government if Donald Trump was to be elected.
Donald Trump would be able to weaponize the Department of Justice to go after his political opponents. He could even turn the FBI into his own personal police force.
What's with the weird lip smacking? I just reposted a tweet where she's constantly doing this weird kind of Nancy Pelosi lip licking, lip smacking. It's weird. It's very strange. And then, the danger of the the danger of the DOJ being politicized. I guess she's not heard of my former White House colleagues, Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon. I think they know a little bit about the DOJ being weaponized, wink, wink.
Yeah, it's accusing your opponent and your opposition of everything you're doing. I mean, that's really what we're seeing here.
That's Bianca De La Garza with Sebastian Gorka live from the DNC in Chicago. And in case you missed it, sources inside Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s presidential campaign say that he will drop out of the race on Friday. That will be the day after Kamala Harris makes her big speech to wrap up the DNC. And RFK Jr. will endorse President Trump at an event in Los Angeles. Earlier this week, there were reports that he was trying to meet with Vice President Harris, who wouldn't meet with him because she just doesn't meet with anyone. The actual current president, the guy who is supposed to be running the country, is on vacation. Not just mentally, but he's physically out of the White House vacationing with the First Lady. And there is a hearing today related to Hunter Biden's tax case, as I mentioned yesterday. On Wall Street, it's all eyes on the Fed. Chairman Jerome Powell and policyholders holding their annual meeting in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, to discuss cutting interest rates. For people in the financial arena, people in that world, this is a big deal. The Jackson Hole Conference is a big deal. Powell will have an announcement on Friday, which, as always, could boost or sink the markets. It would be nice if he says all of the right things and we close out the week on a high note going into the weekend. This morning, Target surprised investors with better than expected earnings, and the markets opened in the green. Be sure to keep up with all of the news today on Newsmax, Newsmax.com, and make sure you're on Newsmax Plus for the most complete lineup of all of your favorite shows, hosts, and guests, like Rob Schmitt Tonight, Greg Kelly Reports, The Record with Greta Van Susteren, Newsline with Bianca De La Garza, Wake Up America, and more, with analysis from people like Governor Mike Huckabee, Senator Rick Santorum, political analyst Mark Halpern, Judge Napolitano, and many, many others. NewsmaxPlus.com. I'm Tony Marino. This is the Newsmax Daily. Today is also National Senior Citizens Day, by the way, so do something nice for a senior. And keep on fighting the good fight.
News breaks every minute, every day. You need the app, the Newsmax app. Find it free on your smartphone store. Then watch us anytime, anywhere.
It's our America. We conquered it. We built it. Great values like honesty and fairness. Great courage. A great nation needs a free press. Newsmax is it. 30 million Americans regularly go to Newsmax when they really need to know. They watch Newsmax TV at home. On the free Newsmax app, they go to Newsmax.com. Start today. Newsmax is real news for real people.